Derek, wake up! Do you know what day it is? Said Tina. I said while wiping the sleep from my eyes. It was my little sister Tina, who had started a birthday countdown. Every morning she'd jump on my stomach to tell me how many days were left until her big day. 3 more days until my birthday! I'm so excited, Derek! I can't wait to open my presents. I know you'll get me something nice because you're the best big brother in the world! She exclaimed. My baby sister is gonna be 6 years old, I replied while ruffling her hair and giving her a hug. I was smiling, but I felt terrible. We're not a wealthy family. In fact, it's the complete opposite. My mom works at a little bakery, and my dad was recently laid off, so we have very little. I was given an allowance once in a while, but I never had much to spend on anything. I wish I could take my sister to the toy store and just let her pick out anything she wanted. She was my only sibling, and as an older brother, I was very protective. I wanted only the best for her, but I had nothing. I got out of bed and went to the kitchen to see what was for breakfast. Boring oatmeal porridge again. Mom, I'm tired of this, I groaned. Honey, I'm tired of explaining to you that we can't afford to spend money on exciting breakfasts, she replied. Yes, son, you should be grateful that you at least have something to eat. Many people don't, my father said sternly. I sat down and ate quietly. It was true. While I didn't have much, there were still many who had less, and I guess I should be grateful. Yum, said Tina. She was adorable. She liked anything. After I finished breakfast, I took a shower and got ready for school. My parents chose to send me to a private school because they believed it was better. It was costing them an arm and a leg, but they decided our suffering would result in me landing a lucrative career, which would eventually make them proud. Anyway, it was good because at least I got to wear a uniform, so my classmates would never know that I only had 2 or 3 outfits. Still, it sucked to be the only poor person in the entire school. Almost everyone at that place lived in mansions and had practically everything. Then there was me, the guy with one uniform because my parents could only afford one. I wore the same one every day. That morning I was almost completely dressed when I realized I was missing a sock. I searched everywhere for it. It wasn't in the closet, on the chair near my desk, anywhere. My last resort was to check under the bed. As I knelt and peeped in the darkness, I noticed a crispy $50 bill on the floor next to an old shoebox. What? I thought. I've never been able to save that much my whole life, so where did this come from? I picked it up and without a second thought, I shoved it into my pocket. I was so excited that I ran out of the house and was just in time to catch the bus. Luckily, my pants were long enough to hide the fact that I was still missing a sock. My day was quite uncomfortable. Have you ever tried walking around with a missing sock? But I caught up with my best pal Miles at lunchtime. You're so irresponsible. Anyway, you're lucky my parents are strict and that all I have in my house are books and board games. Otherwise, we'd be in the same boat, I replied. One day that'll change. You're the smartest person in our year. I'm sure you'll be rich someday, he exclaimed. Speaking about rich, this morning I found a $50 bill under my bed. That was so weird, I told him. He began to laugh. Well, Derek, I think you should check under your bed every morning. Maybe soon you can actually buy me more games. I laughed too, and then the bell rang, so we both went to class. When I got home that afternoon, Tina came running towards me with her hands in the air. 2 more days until my birthday! Have you bought me my present? She screamed. What do you want, anyway? I asked. I want an LOL doll, 2 Barbie dolls, a stuffed unicorn. She went on and wouldn't stop. I ate my boring dinner, did my homework, showered, and went to sleep. The next morning, I realized I still hadn't found my sock. I remembered Miles's joke and looked under the bed again. There was $100 there. Even though he meant it as a joke, it was really there, and much more than yesterday. All I could think about was what I'd buy for Tina. Her birthday was the next day. I quickly put my money into my pocket and left for school. After school, I went to the toy store and bought everything I could for $150. I walked home with my bag of presents, feeling like the world's best big brother. When I got home, Tina ran towards me like she usually did. Derek, 1 more day until my She paused. Are these all presents for me? She squealed. Yes, but you can't open them until tomorrow, I replied. You're the best big brother ever, she said and ran to tell our parents. I went to my room to change and started on my homework. Suddenly, I heard a knock on my door. Derek? It was my mom. Yes, Mom? How did you buy all those presents for your sister? You aren't doing anything you shouldn't be, are you? She looked at me suspiciously. No, Mom, I've been saving for a very long time, I lied. Okay, well, I just wanted to say thanks. Your father and I were only able to afford a birthday card this time, and I was going to take one of the leftover cakes from the bakery after work. So we're very happy she has presents. I'm happy I raised such a responsible young man, she said proudly. She walked away, and I began to imagine what I would do if the money kept appearing under my bed. But who kept putting it there? Was this magic? I was very confused, but it was making my family happier, so I decided not to think about it too much. Before I left for school the next morning, I made sure I checked under the bed again. Believe it or not, there was $200 there. After that, every morning when I checked, the amount of money increased by $50 from the previous day. In what seemed like no time at all, I had saved $1,000. The money was always placed in the same spot under the bed, and I could still not figure out where it was coming from. One afternoon, I decided to talk to Miles about it. I explained the situation, and he looked puzzled for a while. Then he finally replied, "Dude, that's really weird. Anyway, we should spend some now. You deserve a few new things, and then we can spend the rest at the arcade." I agreed, and later we had a great time. I bought myself some new outfits, uniforms, a backpack, shoes, and yes, lots of socks. After we spent a few hours at the arcade, Miles came up with an idea. "Hey, let's get some fake IDs and have some fun this weekend. There's this new club I want to check out," he said. I don't know if that's the best idea, but okay. How much is it going to cost?" I replied. I'd never done anything out of the ordinary like that before. About $50 each. You just need to send me a picture by tonight, and we'll have them the next day," he said. I gave him the money, and he smirked. The next day was Saturday. I looked under my bed again, and there was more money. "Great," I exclaimed while I counted the hundreds. I put some away and put some in my wallet to spend at the club that night. Later, I met Miles, and he gave me my fake ID, which looked surprisingly real. I was now a 25-year-old man named Joseph. I laughed. "Okay, let's go have some fun," I said. "Yes, but before that, I have a surprise for you. We're waiting for 2 other people who will come with us," he said. "Huh?" I replied as I saw 2 of the most beautiful girls from our school approach us. "Here's your date, Derek. This is Stephanie. I'm sure you met before," Miles said. I had a crush on Stephanie since middle school, but she always ignored me. Tonight she was actually my date. I couldn't believe it. Stephanie looked gorgeous. She was wearing a purple mini dress and looked at me like she was actually excited. Hi, I said to her shyly. "Don't be shy with me. We're gonna have an amazing night," she replied. And that we had. My night was insane. We drank, danced, and partied like never before. Stephanie stayed by my side the entire time, and I was able to buy drinks for her and all of her friends. I felt like a real man. Here I was, outside partying and being able to buy my date anything she asked for. I don't remember anything else about that night, probably because I drank too much. On Monday morning, I was the talk of the school. Apparently I was so drunk that I ended up kissing Stephanie in the middle of the dance floor. Someone took a video and posted it on Instagram, and now everybody knew. It was the beginning of my new life. People actually knew who I was now. As the weeks went by, I became the most popular guy at school. I was dating the most beautiful girl, had the most expensive things, and so much money. Stephanie had become my world, even though she'd mostly talk to me when she wanted me to buy her something. She was just so irresistible, I did anything for her. My life was absolutely perfect. Until one morning. You ever wake up and just know that something bad was about to happen? Well, that was how I felt. I carried out my morning routine, and as usual, before I left the house, I looked under the bed. There was nothing there. Maybe the wind blew it away, I thought. I'll check again tomorrow. The next morning, there was no money again. The morning after that, there was no money. I tried to keep myself calm and went to school like nothing was wrong. I finally began to freak out after the 5th day. Had my luck just ended like that, with no warning? Instead of running for the bus that morning, I went to the living room and sat down with my head in my hands. "Derek, what's wrong?" my father asked as he came to sit next to me. "Everything. My life changed so much the past few weeks, and everything is going to suck again," I replied. "What on earth are you talking about?" he said. I told him about the money, the parties, Stephanie, my new popularity, and everything. He started to laugh. I couldn't believe it. I just spilled my heart out to this man, and he was just there laughing. "Well, son, there's something I should tell you," he finally replied. "What?" I said. "Your mother and I aren't poor. In fact, a few years before you were born, we inherited a great fortune. We chose to raise you and Tina like this because it'd teach you some important values, like honesty and generosity. I put the money under your bed every night to see how you'd behave when you had everything," he said. I was shocked. "In the beginning, you did well. You spent it all on your sister, but I don't know what got into you after that. You proved to me that you're not mature enough to handle any of this. Instead of saving or helping others, you chose to impress people and to become popular. You won't get another cent until you've left college, Derek. I'm sorry," he continued. I was in complete shock. Nothing made any sense. After that week, everything went back to the way it was before. Stephanie left me for some other guy, and the new friends I made wanted nothing to do with me because I was poor again.